Hello and welcome to another episode of Nexus Wars. And this game is just going to be a fun 3-on-3 game. How do I know this? Well, I know Axios XXVFs. I know Namja, pretty good player. And I don't know about this guy. He is 53-44. On the other side, we have Noob, Titan, Fremia, and Troller Demote. They're all experienced players. So let's see how it goes. First, it's the beginning. I went Pylon. The other guys just opened with Zealot and a Sentry. There's a push here. I think that they just held their units in the beginning. And now they are unleashing an army of Zealots. So bottom is not going to have a fun time playing this game. I would recommend orange to go Firebat, but I think at this point it's kind of too late. Now, here we go.
Our allies' base is under attack.
Now, as pointed out in my defense tutorial, there's no point of build cancelling at this early stage of the game because it doesn't do anything good to you. I would recommend instead just attacking the units. So let's speed things up. Now what's happening here is that we are in short supply of units and we don't have a strong unit choice. So top is being pushed because I went Pylon. And the bottom is being pushed as well because Swift X is also went for a Pylon. Not the biggest move that will get us ahead, but rather than we're going to be behind and we're going to be pushed for the most part. So let's see how this goes. It basically brings down to repairing units, repairing buildings, and just trying to boom. So there it is. Now those two pylons in the beginning had forced a nuke. And see, bottom is continuing with their rush. Zealot, Roach, Rush. They're pressing hard. You can see on the minimap that we are not actually being able to create any waves or create any sort of push. Nam made a strong decision with Firebat being there because it's gonna counter those zealots pretty hard. Now these guys, well, a Firebat and something else would do much better. Now I dumped my money into a cannon, and I'm thinking that early two pylons didn't really do anything. We're just having a cannon, and we are also down one nuke. Now Nam is going with a Revenger, so we are investing in second tier units, well, kind of second tier units,
Your forces are under attack.
in the hopes that in the mid game we're gonna have sort of more of a balanced game. Now the bassist, he also went Zealot, Roach, Opener, while Fremia is probably setting herself or himself for tanks. Okay, it seems like our cannon 23 kills, well, something reasonable. Our cannon and our units are finally going to be able to create some sort of a push. So there we go. We have a push on top and we have a push on the bottom. Now I believe the other side should have pyloned as well. That's why we got a little bit of a break in our units. Yep, Fremia had set for 3 tanks. Now this 30-second rush is now outlived its life, outlived its useful life, so to speak. We have our own little jam on the top and we have our own little jam on the bottom. So now, from my point of view, I will go ahead and try to figure out who is playing mid and what is their mid strategy. However, in this game, and I think this is the point of this game, actually, that's why I'm recording it, I'm playing with Nam and I'm playing with Swift. Two good players. What I had discovered, if that they want to play heroes or if they want to play mid-draw, Let them do it. This way, you're going to get a pro player controlling heroes or a pro player controlling mid. Let me tell you why am I choosing it to be this way. Well, the reason for that is that, let's say I think that I'm the best person in the world, and I play with two other people who think that they are the best people in the world. So what ends up happening, control is not being shared, and people just send mid-row very disorganized. You know, they're not really sending all of their units at the same time into the same wave, following some sort of a particular strategy. And heroes are also being split. So that's why I had discovered that in my experience, if I just let the other person do his or her thing, it's much better. And if they're doing a good job, then it works out well. If they're not, then I will intervene and say, well, let me just control mid for a few minutes. Typically, people will agree to this, unless they're really, really dumb, and that's a whole issue in and of itself. So there we go. We were able to turn top with just a little bit of mothership cores and other units that have bonus attack versus armored units. So we forced our nuke and the game starts to develop. Now we are pretty stable. We are playing, 3 people are playing in the mid. We have some ultras. Boom. I use the nuke. They have a pretty good composition on the bottom, but they're not having a very good composition on the top, and this is what allows us to turn and push top at will. Also keep in mind that Swift is really coming from the bottom, so just by sheer numbers we should be able to have a unit advantage on the top. Okay, so we turned, we pushed bottom. We didn't do much on the top, but they are having heavy ground game with a little bit of a backup from Scourged and some trailing guys. Okay. Okay, this was an Odin nuke. Odin was really early in the game, so somebody, Titan, had dumped his economy. Well, he was pretty ahead on the economy, I'm surprised. Oh, not compared to us, yeah. So he was ahead, but now he put his money into an early Odin nuke, and I'm not sure if that's a good idea, whether they're going to be able to turn bottom. I think they are. They are going to be able to turn bottom. I'm communicating with people, you know, telling them what is my supply. The reason I'm doing that is because we're filling up mid-row pretty fast, so it's a good idea to communicate this, because I'm building heavy units and I'm just trying to budget how many units we can fit into the mid-row. I think this game is pretty much under our control now, because we are definitely ahead on income. They were able to turn bottom, and let's just see how it unfolds. With that many emos and a lot of carriers, I'm thinking that, and now Tempests, I'm thinking that we have a pretty good chance on the bottom, and that push by them in the beginning of the game is way in the past now, way in the past. So they're probably going to be able to turn top with the Odin, or if they had another, yeah. That Odin is doing pretty well, 104 kills. Okay, I am rushing air. It's a logical thing because I have a carrier. That's me, and you know, I'm trying to make carriers sort of like a presence, a force in this game now that we have them, and so there it is. That's my second point, the one that I explained previously. Swift wants to play Zeratul, so I just gave it to him.
Your forces are under attack.
You know, I was planning to up my air a little bit faster and then make heroes, because there's no real reason for us to have a hero at this point, at least from my end. So there's no reason for this, so I will go ahead and try to make my carriers a little bit stronger. Mothership Course does receive ridiculous upgrades. Yeah, plus 12. Okay. Yeah, there's something wrong with the upgrades on Mothership Course. Alright, so there he is. He's playing with the Zeratul. Where's my mouse? Here. He's playing with the Zeratul. They're turning top. My carriers, they do... let's see. Without heroes, those carriers wouldn't be too much of a deal, but with heroes, there should be okay. Did they have to use a nuke? I kind of missed that. Okay, so there it is. I made my Zeratul and I'm pinging so that Swift can pick it up.
Upgrade complete.
And I'm just gonna speed things up.
Upgrade
Slow
complete.
push on the top. Let's see how we turn bottom.
Upgrade complete.
Alright, I noticed that they're not upgrading, which is not a good thing, obviously. So us being ahead on income
Nuclear launch
is
detected.
going to be a defining moment in this game. Based on my experience with playing with Trillard mode and Titan, they have a very sad pattern of games. So they try to rush this Zeratul / Roach thing in the beginning, and that makes their end game weak because they're not used to playing an end game all the time. So there it is. Titan quits because just his audience got slayed. It's not a big advantage for us right now because they didn't have any upgrades in the first place, so they didn't lose much. But you know, it's a weak move. It's just heroes that are gone. You know, the game is far from being over in real life, so to speak. So let's just speed things up and see how it turns out. It's basically swinging mid in a defensive way, trying to maybe double stack some units in one of the lanes, and then play the hero game, attacking their heroes and not allowing their units to be of any danger to us. Here comes our punch. And blah 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 and yada yada yada, and we win again. Please recommend this channel to other people because there's lots of people who can benefit, and the more good players are there, the more fun overall we're gonna have. Recommend this channel to everyone. Until next time, this was Naughty.